What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sweep Unplugged. We're starting the new year off fantastic. I hope everybody had a great new year, 2025. We've been talking about it's going to be Sweep the Leagues year. We're going to be basically innovating. We're going to be doing a whole lot more. So if you thought 2024 was good, you cannot wait for 2025. You can't wait to see what's coming out here. We've got more STL music, got a bunch more of Sweep Unplugged. Of course, Sweep the League TV takes over the airwaves every single Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. with myself, Derek Gervin, and Coach Gio. Probably one of the hottest podcasts in San Antonio as we are right now. What are we doing today? Well, we're going to start the New Year's off with a little bit of Fitzness. Now, you may be confused. Well, I mean, Fitzness, you're throwing a Z in there. What are we doing here? Well, there's a reason why we're throwing that Z in there, because we're going to be talking to Fitz Koehler, and it feels like when I'm doing her introduction, feels like I'm a WWE wrestling announcer, how you're introducing somebody with a massive background as Fitz Koehler, who's going to be our guest today. So, it's like you're saying, well, introducing in this corner, the fitness innovator, the race announcer, speaker, author, but most importantly, the cancer crusher. Let's bring her on right now. It's going to be Miss Fitz Koehler. How are you doing this morning? Welcome to Sweep Unplugged.
Spectacular, Rudy, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you too, from everybody here at Sweep the League. I appreciate you joining us here on the first edition of Sweep Unplugged for 2025. I don't think it probably worked out any better, because as we get off 2024 on the sluggish side, because everybody has that holiday weight like I do, and you're thinking, I got to start 2025 out with a bang. I got to hit the gym. Miss Koehler, give everybody a little bit of background on, hey, you know what? Now I can get off the couch. I want to start 2025, because with Fitzness, you're all about working out. You're all about the motivation. So how can you get everybody to be motivated going into 2025?
Well, I would say just by the nature of your podcast, your audience are sports fans, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just good enough to watch sports, is why not play sports, right? Why not get out there and throw the dang ball, or run a lap, or I don't know, hit the pickleball racket, whatever you like to do. Clearly you have a audience that is passionate about movement, about competition, about activity. And it's interesting how sometimes football makes people fatter. And I just think it's absurd. You love Aaron Rodgers, or you love Travis Kelce, or whoever you admire. These are some of the healthiest, strongest, most fittest bodies in the world. And then in response to their greatness, people sit their ass on the couch and they eat, and drink. And folks, if you're hearing me and you're nodding your head, yeah, I'm talking to you. There's a solution to that. You could be more like Patrick Mahomes if you wanted, or these dudes that are doing backflips over the defensive line, right? You want to get that ball and go, you got to do a backflip over them. So work on yourself, and you don't have to go back to being your high school days. I think especially men, they're like, well, in high school I was blank. Okay, well, that's in the past, right? It doesn't matter what you used to do. Let's focus on you today. And what I can advise folks is that all you need to be is 1% better every day. When it comes to fitness, there's the 4 pillars. There's strength, cardio, flexibility, balance. Do a little bit of each almost every day. You'll start to be a better version of yourself. When it comes to watching what you put in your mouth, you don't have to diet. You definitely should not diet. You should not buy these ridiculous supplements at a quote unquote nutrition store. They're going to help you lose weight. That's garbage. I mean, you know what? The Ozempic stuff, that works. And if you need it, go to a doctor. But if you're on your own, all you got to do is eat the right amount of the right food for the size you want to be. Be very reasonable. And guys are good at that, because women, they'll say, well, I'm on my period, or it's Friday, or I'm with the girls. They're constantly making excuses.
Yeah.
Men here, it's called the exact formula for weight loss. It's just you deciding your weight and then eating the proper amount to get to that weight goal. But men go, okay, math, I can do that. And then they drop 50 pounds, 30 pounds. My guys that I guide through online stuff, it's mostly all free. It's just the guys are responsive and smart and disciplined. And so go to the cover of Fitzness.com. You'll see a block there that says exact formula for weight loss. Boom, you figure out what you want to weigh. You'll figure out how much you should eat, and then you'll be there, because guys are awesome.
I completely understand what you're talking about because I know a lot of people know my story. My quick story was when COVID hit, I went to the doctor. The doctor said, I don't really know how you haven't collapsed yet. I was close to 485 pounds. So in the time since then, I'm down to, I actually gained a little bit of weight, but I'm actually down to 241. So, I mean, still my
Imagine.
lowest 17 that I got to. So I still want to get that 40 pounds, that 41 pounds. I've never seen 190 since high school. And you talking about, don't talk about high school. I because that was the last time I saw the hundreds, the one before my weight. But I understand and I completely agree with what you're saying. With a guy, a lot of times they're motivated, they just kind of get lazy, lackadaisy, and that was the problem with me. I would eat tons of meals and tons of calories and carbs and just sit on the couch and watch games and not do anything.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the secret to your sides is always going to be what you put in your mouth. You can't outrun unhealthy food. And as I'm the voice of some of the largest marathons in America,
Mhm.
there's so many overweight and obese runners doing full marathons. So that's exhibit A on how important nutrition is. If you can conquer that, then you can be any weight you want to be. But men have this great, I mean, guys are cool, right? And of course, I know you've got female sports fans listening, but
Sure.
guys will go to the park and just jump in with a bunch of strangers and play basketball. And so one of the great luxuries of being a man is there's always this really fun opportunity for you to play to become fitter. And that's really what I encourage. I think your sports fans should be on a corporate flag football team or softball or basketball, anything that's getting you away from the TV, away from your computer, away from fast food or even fancy food is a good thing. And so, yeah, just 1% better. You don't have to be perfect. And of course, you can still have a beer, maybe make it a light beer and make it one beer versus six.
Well, I think my problem was I went down to one beer, but instead of the can, I would get the big can and say, okay, well, that's
Giant. Yeah, a big
one
pitcher. I
giant
said
beer
one
for me.
beer.
We're talking to Fitz Koehler. Fitzness.com is where you want to go to get all the information and all of her great inspiring stories. And you just did mention one thing we wanted to get into was race announcer.
Yeah.
How did this come about? I mean, I see you're announcing all these different races, the big ones as well. So
Yeah.
give us a little bit of background on how that came about because you're doing a fantastic job with it.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm a fitness pro and I've been a keynote speaker for decades. And I was speaking for Disney in many capacities, and they have a race series. And one of their race announcers said, "Oh my God, such a big voice, so much charisma. Would you like to co-host the OC Orange County Marathon with me in California?" And I said, "Well, I've never done it before, but I'd love to give it a try." And so race director hired me, and my first race weekend, I had over 30,000 people. And you know how some people have a fear of public speaking?
Yeah.
I have a fear of not being invited to speak publicly. I just, when I'm on a stage, it's not about me being in front of them. It's about me being with them. And I connect so deeply. And so I had so much fun, and the athletes had so much fun. Whipping them into a frenzy was second nature to me. And we just had the best time ever. And so within about an hour of yelling go at that event, the race director, Gary Kutcher, came over and said, "Can you come back next year?" And I said, "Absolutely." And then other race directors were around and said, "Could you come do my events?" And so I have had the privilege of traveling America, serving millions of people who are just trying to be healthier and have some fun. And of course, some of the greatest speedsters in the world. But then my favorite are the back of the pack. I love the gritty people, the stragglers with the knee braces. And I just, anyone who's out there trying makes me happy, makes my heart melt. And we think about, let's see, the Packers Stadium. How many people does that hold? Like 55,000, I'm guessing.
Roughly, yeah. I guess
We
guesstimation, yeah.
we have running events where 55,000 people come and actually do the event. And so where the NFL is proud to have 55,000 people in the stadium in the running community, we have 50,000 people line up at a start line and actually play the sport. And so they come in all shapes and sizes and colors and backgrounds. And it's really cool. As a fitness pro, it makes me happy to see all these people that are doing the right thing.
You can definitely go check out Fitz Koehler, Fitzness.com. Also, you have a show called The Fitzness Show. Also, if you want to follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, it's at Fitzness. I'm going to get that right. Everybody, I'm getting there here. I got to put the Z in there. So don't forget the Z. It's Fitzness.com. And you can follow her all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's at Fitzness. Now, one race I want to get into particular with you because we've got the quote unquote nerds, as you can tell by my wall behind me, that follow us too on Unplugged here, as well as Sweep the League TV. Was I saw you were a part of the DC superhero series. Can you
Yeah.
get into that a little bit? Because this is where the light starts going around for all the nerd guys out there. What was that all about?
Oh, that was incredible. So, my late great race director, Mark Knudsen, partnered with Warner Brothers, and they created this series with DC Comics and Warner Brothers. And we traveled around the country with a Wonder Woman specific series and a DC superhero series. So, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman were our icons for that one. And you're right. Normally with the running industry, and of course, we get a lot of walkers. I want to make sure everybody knows you can even go out and walk the Boston Marathon. So walkers are always invited, but these races brought out so many people who had never, ever lined up at a start line. They just wanted to wear the gear. And I mean, the costumes were incredible. I would say about 97% of everybody who showed up to those events were dressed either as our main three icons, or we'd have Poison Ivy and Green Lantern. And it was a blast. And, I got to delve into superhero trivia and give out prizes. And we hosted costume contests. And it was very unserious. There were 5Ks mostly, and people just came out to have fun, looking silly, and another awesome experience. It's great to be at the helm of such a good time all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah, and superheroes, and I mean villains now. Man, villains these days.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm a big villain guy. I love the
Who's your
superhero,
favorite?
but so DC wise, I've always been a Deathstroke and a Joker guy. I just
Okay.
love both of them. Joker, the Anarchy, the guy who doesn't have a technically a superpower. He's just, I mean, your everyday guy, and obviously the same with Deathstroke, just kind of karate guy. I mean, these guys, the one thing I like about DC a lot of the times is a lot of their villains don't have superpowers. I mean,
Right.
that's just something that they don't have. So I kind of am, the villain type. Not that I'm saying I'm a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. Trust me,
Right.
I'm not. I'm more of the superhero characteristic. But yeah. Do you happen to have a favorite superhero or
I
even
do.
villain at that?
Well, I do. So mine is a Marvel
Okay.
bad girl, and her name is Scream.
Okay.
And she's very athletic, and she has this big, long, crazy hair, and
Mhm.
she makes this siren wail, and she grabs people with her hair and thrashes them around. And I love that. I'm noisy, and in good times I have long hair. I don't know. I just thought that would be fun. If I could grab people with my hair and toss them around, you betcha I would do it in a heartbeat.
That would be pretty cool to see. If you ever able to do that, we need to get that on video so we can post it on
Hmm.
Sweep Unplugged for you one day. We're talking to Fitz Koehler now. We talked superheroes a little while ago. We talked the marathon. I wanted to transition to this because it takes a superhero to overcome, especially what you did in your lifetime. You are an author and a great author, a fantastic author of the Cancer Comeback series, and it's a bunch of books, that you were able to author and write. The thing with that is everybody in their lifetime has or will experience cancer or know someone close to them that has gone through it. My personal story is, my grandmother, she got breast cancer, went into remission, came back strong, passed away. More closely was my dad back in 2018,
Yes.
passed away from liver cancer. Now, in that case, he got it, and I think what it was a lot of misdiagnosis and not knowing exactly what was going on. And then finally, when they kind of understood, hey, this is what you've got, pretty much it's over. And I can go through the whole spiel, but that would be a whole hour show. But we've all experienced it, or we're going to experience it in some way. You've experienced it personally. Can you kind of go through that? Because everything from that point on is what led to Fitzness.com. It's what led to your story, and even the books that are out right now. I think this is one of the more compelling stories that we've had on Sweep. I'd love for you to go through that if possible.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So I'll start by sharing that Fitzness.com supersedes cancer by a long shot. My business is 30 years in the making. And yeah, thankfully, it's been a long, wonderful career with this business of mine. But in 2018, at the end of 2018, like December 28th, I went in and had a clean mammogram, sparkling clean, walked out with a happy letter, with a happy face on it from the radiologist. And then 6 weeks later, at a race weekend, I got out of the shower naked, had an itch. I rubbed my underboob and I found a lump. Within a week, I had a doctor appointment and a mammogram, another mammogram and an ultrasound and a biopsy. And I had a surgeon call to say, Fitz, I'm so sorry, but you do indeed have breast cancer. It has already spread to the lymph nodes. It's running through you like wildfire, and we need to treat you urgently and aggressively. And they did. And so I had 15 months, 21 rounds of chemotherapy, which was nightmarish for me. I had 33 rounds of radiation and I had some surgery. And I'm very grateful to say that I'm 4 years out of treatment. I'm 5 years in remission. So cancer-free. But it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. And I made some really good decisions before treatment started and along the way that really benefited me. So the drugs, those chemo drugs, still had their way with me. I lost a ton of weight. I became that, like, at one point, my mother screamed at me. She said, "You look like you're in the Holocaust. You need to eat." And I said, "Yeah, Mom, I get it. I'm trying, right? I am trying." But this, it was hard. It was really hard. But decisions up front, early detection. And if your doctors are ignoring you, be the squeaky wheel. You have to fight for attention. You have to be able to switch doctors and make whatever stink until you know for a fact either you do have cancer or you do not have cancer. Whatever your symptoms are for whatever type of cancer, being a squeaky wheel, being your own best advocate. If I had let things go, if I had ignored my lump for 4 months, there's no way I'd be alive. That thing was like ripping through me so fast. It would have been in my brain and my lungs, and I would have just been this girl you talked about. Right? Oh, there was this fitness pro on TV and she didn't pay attention to her breast cancer. And so she's dead. So that's really important for everybody to know. But before I started treatment, I decided even though I was scared and stressed and that never went away, I decided I was never going to have a pity party because I'm at the University of Florida. There's a few miles from my home. There's a pediatric oncology unit. And I just decided, you know what? There are babies with cancer. So if them, why not me? I never had the why me. And I never had the pity party. I cried, I was stressed, but I never basked in misery. And then I chose to pursue my passions. And so I decided, okay, cancer is going to steal my hair. And it did. And some of my happy feelings. And it did. But I did not let it steal time with my kids or my career. So no matter how sick I was, I boarded about 30 planes to jet across America, either doing keynotes or race announcing. And boy, was it hard. But thankfully, all the sports I played, I was, all the youth sports, I was a competitive kickboxer. Those skills I learned in sports steeled me for when I really needed strength and when I really needed discipline. And so I would do the hard things to get to the point B, which was always some wonderful stage serving wonderful people. And even if I slept on the hotel bathroom floor, once I stepped on those stages, I got to be full force Fitz Koehler again. I wasn't sick. I wasn't tired. I wasn't suffering. I got to be me for these little chunks of time, as long as I was doing the thing I love for the people I love. And so I want to make sure anyone, no matter what hardship you're going through, your house burns down, you're getting a divorce, someone's sick, you're sick, keep doing the things you love. Play the sports, watch the sports, listen to your favorite songs, needlepoint, I don't care, whatever it is, but those passions will fuel you and make life better. And then, of course, fitness. I declined severely because I had such aggressive treatment. However, it could have been a whole lot worse for me. I could have been hospitalized for a month. I could have had a feeding tube. I could have suffered from all of these infections, but I didn't, because even while sick, I would exercise. I would lie there in bed feeling like I was on death's door, and I would do leg lifts, or I would do bridges for my low back. When I got in the shower, I would stretch. And then when I was having a good day, I would walk or wiggle in the water. And, I planned my comeback to health and vibrancy very meticulously. It was 1% better every day. I never pushed the envelope. And I'm so grateful that, having this situation and being a fitness expert, man, so handy, right?
Yeah.
When I was at my worst, I started thinking about all my peers, all the millions of cancer patients around the world who were being, dragged behind a horse by their treatment or their disease, and they had no idea how to rebuild their body. And so that's why I wrote these books. I decided, okay, this sucks. This is hard, terrible for everybody. And these people it's all decline. And then the doctor says, you're good, go on with your life. And they don't know how. And so I wrote the Cancer Comeback series to help all the men and women and children even rebuild and get back to normalcy and vibrancy.
Yeah, I mean the books themselves. I mean, it's an uplifting. It's an uplifting.
Yeah.
I can't even say. I mean, story tell, however you want to put it.
Right.
But either way, no matter how you get around it, the word cancer automatically just kills people when they hear it.
Terrifying.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's terrifying. I know when my dad got it, we kind of had an idea, but we just didn't know. I remember walking into the house with my little one, who was his only granddaughter and still his only grandchild in the family. He's in a dark room by himself with my mom and says, I got to talk to y'all. And I'm like, this is not good. He tells us what happens. So I know for a fact that when you get that kind of news, whether it's to you or somebody close, it just doesn't affect that person. It affects everybody. But where you come in, it's the fact of, you know what, you've got to fight. And that's the thing. One of my favorite guys in the entire world was Jim Valvano, especially what he went through with his cancer and his words. I would always listen to his speech when I needed to remind me of my dad about don't give up, don't ever give up. And one thing that you did was something that I saw on your website, Fitzness.com, is the 21 rounds with Fitz.
Oh,
And you started to
yeah.
do things for every round. I mean, you were everything from running the 5K, triathlon, all the way down to where I saw you swam with whale sharks. And the thing that I took the most from it was something that I tell my wife and I tell a lot of people. Life is really short.
That's
I
it.
mean, you can be the healthiest person in the world and gone from something the very next day. You do not know what every second of every day holds for you. And seeing you do that, it's like what I've told people tons of times. You've just got to live in the moment. You've got to live for now because tomorrow is never promised. 21 rounds with Fitz. How that to me, again, everything about talking to you is inspirational and I love it. It's something that we all need to start the new year off. That's why I'm glad you are here with us to start Sweep the League Unplugged on 2025 to start the new year. But 21 rounds of with Fitz, get into that because that is even bigger, I think, for an inspirational thing because not only are you down, you're sick wise going through chemo, you just got to tell yourself, you know what? You just got to get off the couch and do what you got to do.
Well, you're right. So life is short and life can and should be sweet. And, if you're lucky to survive cancer, and most people do if it's detected early, even with most types of cancer, either it makes the rest of your life miserable and this thing you're constantly going back to and harping on, or it enlightens you and gives you the opportunity to live your best life. And so that's what I chose. I just chose F this. I'm going to get back to where I'm supposed to be. And I'm dinged up. There's still some things that are not perfect, but whatever, perfect's boring. But yeah, with the 21 round challenge, what I decided was I would specifically and intentionally replace each round of misery with a round of awesome. And I may go do radiation too, but again, chemo was my worst part. So 21 rounds of hell. And so I've started saying, okay, you're right. There was a Spartan 5K and a triathlon early up front after I finished chemo. They were crazy and incredible. But three of the highlights are running the Boston Marathon. That was for round number 3. I competed in a Dancing with the Stars competition. Mind you, I have zero dance background. That was incredible. And then a few months ago, I swam with whale sharks, and that was just a dream come true. And so I'm going to intentionally make my life even better. That I just, what can I do to have a life well lived? We all have lost friends and family, and sometimes you're sitting at the funeral and they just think, well, that just sucks, right? It just sucks. And then sometimes I think, well, thank goodness that person had a life well lived, right? That person
Mhm.
adventured and they traveled and they were always with people they loved and they just had a really good life. Was it too short? Yes, but did they fill it with wondrous things? And I want that for me. I want to do all the things. I don't want to jump out of a plane. I don't want to climb Everest. Those are things I don't want to do. You can invite me to do them. I'll say no, thank you. But things that make me giggle, right? Things that make me squeal, those are the things I want. And I want that for everybody else too. So if you are someone who has had cancer or you love someone who's had cancer, of course, I want them to have these books. These books will have everybody who's had that cancer battle or going through it right now, help them through it and beyond it to their best. The 21 round challenge, I also want to bring in all the cancer crushing community to join me. It's at fitzness.com. It's free. It's not a cost thing. It's just bring these people in to make their own intentional commitment to their own life being absolutely awesome from here on out. And so I had 21 rounds. They may choose 5 rounds or 50 rounds. But yeah, it's just about going forth. And then for everybody else, know this: you don't need to have cancer to start elevating everything in your life. You know, your health matters now. Don't wait for injury or illness to think about it, right? It's prepare your body to do battle today, because if you are healthy and strong going into any sort of crisis, you are going to be so much more likely to rebound and recover efficiently and effectively if you are kind of tough, kind of strong going into it. I mean, imagine if you get hit by a bus, would you rather be Mick Jagger? Would you rather be John Cena? I'm taking John Cena. I want to be that guy. He's going to like kill the recovery and get back to normal as quickly as any human is. So be more like John Cena. It doesn't need to be in bulk, right? But athletic and powerful and mobile with great balance. Be the best version of you. And then pursue adventure. Get off the couch. You know, you can listen to this awesome podcast while you run, while you cycle, while you, I don't know, mountain climb. You can do a lot of things at once, multitasking. And so that 21 round challenge is really fun. And I'm always up for suggestions. So if anybody has something cool and exciting, send it my way. It could be mentally challenging or physical, but reach out to me at Fitzness and give me some good ideas.
Yeah, we're gonna plug that on our show for Sweep the League TV, because I definitely want to hear a lot of people's ideas and we can pass them on to you as they come in. Because again, for my, going back to my dad, I kind of do things now that I know he wished he could do. So I kind of live, almost like with Stuart Scott from ESPN when he passed. It's like, I'm going to fight and I'm going to fight like hell until I can't fight no more. Then I'm going to lay down and I'm going to let you fight for me. And that's kind of what I've been doing for him, raising my daughter the way he raised me, and just doing everything that I know he would want my daughter to do in his eyes and stuff like that. So
So
yeah, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Rudy, maybe find out how many rounds of treatment he had, and then you do 50 round or that amount of rounds of awesome in his honor, right? Your whole
Yeah.
family can do something cool to honor dad or grandpa. What a neat thing to do in his honor.
And I'm planning to do that now after seeing what you posted and now talking to you right now. That's something that I'm going to actually do a little bit more of. I think now more than ever, I think we're going to try to do something once a month or once every other month that, he loved to do or he wanted to do and never got a chance to accomplish. So, sadly with my dad, the story behind that was he was diagnosed before they could start treatment. They basically didn't do it. They said, we can't do anything. I mean, he was just walking,
Sorry.
walking dead man, basically is what it was. And I'll never forget the one doctor appointment where I went with him. They said, here's just a pill. These are the pills that have been tested. You know what? It's been doing wonders. We've had a lot of people that have, come into remission. So we went home with them. I walked to the front door. If I wouldn't have stopped to get him a breakfast taco, he would have taken the pill ahead of time. But I got the taco. We went home. As soon as I walked to the door, I get a phone call from the doctor. It says, have you given your dad the pill? I said, no, I haven't. I'm about to. Don't do it. If you give him that medicine, he probably will die the next day. It was that
Oh boy.
that far gone for his cancer. They said there's literally nothing we can do. So don't give him that medication. We'll just, we'll have to schedule an appointment, and from there on it went downhill. But more than anything, I think we're going to actually do what we talked about here. We've doing a couple of things for him already. I want to
Good.
be able to take my daughter, and we're going to do stuff, that he's always wanted to do, similar to your 21 rounds there with Fitz. And again, I appreciate you joining us here on Sweep the League. This has been a great conversation. I'm glad we started 2025 with you, because the uplifting conversations that we've had right now, and we're hoping to have more with you here soon. It's been magical, and I appreciate you joining us. Can you let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, how they can go and maybe submit their 21 rounds? I know we've been mentioning fitzness.com, but what else and where else can they get a hold of you at?
Yeah, so fitzness.com is my home base for everything. People can go there and you'll learn a bit about me, but more importantly, you'll learn all sorts of neat things for you. There's free workout videos. There's my Strong 25 challenge, which is kicking off the new year. Stronger. It's 6 exercises, 250 reps spread throughout the entire month. I know your listeners can find success being a part of that. It's simple, stupid, free, requires zero equipment, and will make you better. So join me there. And then I'm at Fitzness on social channels. And yeah, I'm very accessible. And so what I ask people is stop by and, if you give me a follow, I promise quality content in return, but I would so much rather have friends than followers. And so if you do follow, if you do connect on fitzness.com and click around, join the challenge, etc., sign up for the newsletter, reach out and say, hi, I heard you on Rudy's Sweep the League podcast and I wanted to connect. And yeah, it's a privilege to be a part of these great communities. Don't you think, Rudy?
100%. I made some of my best friends using the Sweep the League podcast here, and I think we are going on, my God, almost 8 years, 9 years of doing this, and we've been on radio, we've been on our own podcast, we've on network. So I agree with you. Making friends is way more important and fun than making followers. That's probably the way that I look at it more. Followers are in
Yeah.
the shadow, friends are right side by side with you.
Yeah, the lurkers, right? Yeah. So thank you for sharing your friends and your followers with me. And I'm a sports girl till the nth degree. So connecting with your people sounds like a lot of fun. And if I can help any one of them live better, live longer, and if they'll come over and listen to the Fitzness show, hopefully they'll enjoy it like they enjoy yours. But this is what it is. People hear me yammering, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes great guests in sports and business.
That's awesome. The Fitz Show. You definitely want to check it out. Again, we appreciate Fitz Koehler. You can go visit her at her website, fitzness.com, and check out everything, the books, the show, 21 rounds, just a whole lot of Fitz Koehler. And you know what? It's not enough. We need more. We need more. So we definitely got to get her back on Sweep Unplugged for round 2, because we just finished round 1 with her. So we'll try to get her on for round 2. Again, thank you, Fitz Koehler, for joining us here on Sweep Unplugged. This is Rudy accomplishing your best way to get the content. Head over to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, be a subscriber today. Appreciate everybody that subscribed so far. 2025 is just getting started. Don't worry, guys. It's getting a whole lot crazier here at Sweep the League TV. So again, appreciate Fitz Koehler for joining us here on Sweep Unplugged. Until we see everybody again, we'll see you later, knuckleheads.